Well, what a treat it was for Portuguese fans in Toronto to see their national team arrive in the city. They haven't played here since 1995, and Cristiano Ronaldo was last year in 2009 with Real Madrid playing a friendly against Toronto FC. So yes, they were greeted to a lot of fans excited to see them. Vitinha was asked that question about the fan support in the T-Dot.
It's always a great pleasure to see the warm welcoming that Portuguese immigrants have when we get to the country, in Canada, in Switzerland, in Luxembourg, everywhere, in the United States where we landed as well. So really glad to watch that all the time. And I really like to thank them and to ask them to support tomorrow. It will be important for them as well, for us as well. And yeah, it's incredible the amount of support we have all over the world. Here in Canada, once again, I don't know for how long Portugal didn't play in here. I don't know how many years, but surely it was a lot, and I know it means a lot for them to have the national team in here. So we're going to do everything in our power to make them proud.
Well, let's go live now to Centennial Park, where the team is practicing. Oliver Platt is there. This is powered by General Mills. And Ollie, if you allow me just a second here, a little shameless plug. See, there's my book, but I want you to see this title here. They weren't supposed to know about the hotel. That was back in 2009 when I covered Real Madrid playing Toronto FC. They kept the hotel a secret so they wouldn't have all these fans show up to basically bombard Ronaldo. But there was a mole, Ollie. There was a snitch. They ended up saying what hotel they'd be staying at, and it was complete mayhem, chaos. Security was not expecting that. And it was actually pretty scary. Cristiano Ronaldo, give him credit, he remained composed, and he was actually very gracious with fans. What has the reception been like this time around that you've seen?
Well, there's no lack of security or police this time. I can tell you that. So they're safe in there. But it's been the kind of reception that we haven't seen yet in Toronto at this World Cup. And we've seen some brilliant fan bases, including Croatia, Portugal's opponent in this game, but this has been on a different level. Fans at the airport, fans on and above highways, just trying to get a glimpse of the bus. Hundreds of fans here at Centennial Park just to see Cristiano Ronaldo at training. It's been something else. And look, it's about the pride of the Portuguese fans here in Toronto. That's obviously a big part of it, but that's been present for all the other teams that are here as well. I think there's a different aspect to this as well, and you see how young some of the fans are here. It's celebrity. It's Cristiano Ronaldo. It's the status of this guy. There's a handful of people on planet Earth, I think you can say fairly, that have as much kind of stature and recognition and are as famous, quite frankly, as Cristiano Ronaldo is. So, yeah, it was something I've never seen before here in Toronto for any player, except obviously his counterpart Lionel Messi, in terms of the reception that he and the Portugal team got.
For sure. All right, so we just saw Vitinha there. Obviously, he's acknowledging that fan support, but I'm wondering overall, what was the tone of Portugal's press conference?
I would say almost outright hostile, particularly the section with Roberto Martinez. Vitinha, he didn't have too many problems. He had to answer a few difficult questions. He was asked about his own form and whether it had been a bit underwhelming in the first few games, but he was very impressive. He answered questions in 4 different languages. Martinez got a much tougher test in terms of the questions he was receiving. This team is not playing particularly well at this World Cup. Martinez kept repeating that the second World Cup starts now. He kind of separates the group stage from the knockout here, but it kind of felt like someone who knows his team hasn't been very good and is saying, well, don't worry too much about that, guys, because now the real tournament starts and our real performances start with it. I just don't think there's much confidence or much faith in Portugal, and you could tell from the tone of some of the Portuguese journalists asking the questions that is actually going to be the case, and that Portugal are going to suddenly flick a switch here and be a much better team than they have been in the group stage. So yeah, he had a bit of an exchange with one journalist back and forth at one point that was pretty tense, and that tells you, I think, about how they're going into the knockout stage.
All right, well, let's as we take a look at that game here, who are you choosing for your Tellus player to watch?
No prizes for guessing this one. It has to be the man that I think a lot of people here tonight were here to see, Cristiano Ronaldo. And Martinez, the first question he got included a question about whether or not Ronaldo could be dropped to the bench for this one. That obviously happened at the first knockout game of the last World Cup, and Portugal went on to beat Switzerland 6-1. I think there's almost zero chance of it happening here. Martinez has never shown any kind of inclination to do that. And there is going to be, as there always is, a massive spotlight on him. There's no questioning his greatness, his career. There's no questioning his motivation to still be here. He's the first player out at training, leading the team in the warm-ups. But there is questioning his form right now. I don't think there's any way around that. Colombia was really difficult for the team, but also for Ronaldo individually. And it's now 3 goals in his last 14 tournament games, 2 against Uzbekistan and a penalty against Ghana at the last World Cup. That is not the kind of performance that obviously is going to get people off Cristiano Ronaldo's back and asking questions about his place in this Portugal team.
Yeah, when you look back at the last World Cup and not starting, that was under a different manager as well. To your point, the indication here during the group stage, he's the only one that's played the entire time. So Roberto Martinez is definitely relying on Ronaldo. Their opponent, Croatia, what's on the line for them tomorrow?
Well, I think whenever this tournament ends for Croatia, like with Portugal, it's the end of an era. You're going to see their great player in Luka Modric obviously walk away from the international game, and one of them is going to play their last World Cup game tomorrow. So the stakes are huge there. I'm surprised Croatia are as big underdogs as they are. I looked at the odds earlier today. You can get, it's a shorter price for Canada to beat Morocco in 90 minutes than it is for Croatia to beat Portugal, which surprised me, given obviously Croatia's accomplishments at the past 2 World Cups. I think that probably says something about the way in which Croatia tend to go through tournaments. They go to extra time and penalties a lot. They don't often actually win games in 90 minutes. And also about the conditions that we're going to face here, right? It's going to be 35 degrees in Toronto tomorrow, as it was today. This game has extra time written all over it. I think you've got 2 teams that want to have the ball, want to, slow the game down at times, control things. It's going to be, I think, a close game, I would expect at least, and very difficult to find a big difference between these 2 teams. So maybe that's more a reflection of the sports books aren't expecting the game to be won in 90 minutes rather than seeing Croatia as quite that big underdogs. But that surprised me, and I think that will be plenty of fuel for them to show that they're still the team they were in the past 2 tournaments.
Tomorrow is going to be a game that is a great example of hydration breaks being needed. That is for sure. You've been outside all day. You need to go hydrate. We'll talk to you later, Oliver Platt.